All right, so today you're going to select your 4 objects to draw in setting up a still life for your charcoal drawings using your black and white charcoal pencils on our gray paper. So once again, we're understanding how to develop both darks and lights this time around, as opposed to only adding darks, because on white paper we always just add the darks, whether it's a darker dark or a lighter dark. But this time around with the gray paper, you're understanding how to develop your darks and how to develop your lights with your black and white charcoal pencil. So we've already done the sphere and a practice object. Now you are moving on and creating a still life setup with 4 objects minimum. If you want more, then by all means, you can add more, but for the requirement, you'll be using 4. So what I'm going to do is start a gesture drawing of my still life. I've got it set up over to the side here, but I took a picture of it, and from here I will be able to visually analyze exactly what's going on. So I have my 4 objects, and now I'm going to recreate kind of what I see. I would suggest starting on white paper, maybe in your sketchbook. You can practice this drawing first before you move on, because you only have 1 sheet of gray paper to produce this on. So we want to make sure we understand how to draw it and perfect that before we move on to our final paper. As always, with any drawing you really ever do, maybe aside from a grid drawing, you want to make sure that you are creating a gesture drawing. So a gesture drawing is a quick study and understanding of what's going on. So I'm not coming in and saying like, oh, here's the little hole for my birds on my house. I'm not trying to draw it perfectly and then realize I drew it way too big or too small. So your gesture drawing is making sure that everything is in its right place and sizing is correct as well. So we'll go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to throw it together real quick. Gesture drawings, you can do 30-second gesture drawings, 2-minute gesture drawings, 5-minute gesture drawings, but eventually the more and more you do them, the more you'll refine. So I'm just going to start kind of with my circle real quick. Okay, so I've got that placed down there. Use that as a context clue on where other things go. So I know how big my circle is, how far away this roof is from that part of the circle, here and here, and towards the bottom. If you want to line up your kind of objects or your image with your paper and angle your pencil to make sure you have the correct angles of things, you can do that. And then got my vertical lines here for my birdhouse. Line my pencil up with my paper or my image to then my paper and make sure I have the correct angle there. And then we're going to come down, shoot back, understand the angle there. This is all dealing in perspective. This would be 2-point perspective for this house, because remember, we see the corner of something. So then this would go to this vanishing point over here on the horizon line, and then these would go to this vanishing point over here on the horizon line, which goes off the image. So once again, everything that we learn can be understood in like kind of different ways. Now the top of the birdhouse roof is kind of falling apart, so I'm going to show that. Got this angle here. Okay, this would shoot down. Okay, and then just kind of putting everything together. Once again, I have the gist of what's going on. Now I can kind of use my birdhouse as a context clue as where other things go. The base of the tree trunk here lines up almost with the corner of my house. So then I can come in and just draw exactly where that would belong. Stop however far I think it needs to go. Come in with my bottle. My bottle lines up with about the corner there. Understand the angle at which that's going at. Shoot back. Shoot straight up. The top corner of the bottle here lines up with the middle of my bird house right there. So I'll stop short right there, start to curl in, come around. I have a cylinder here at the top of the bottle. I have the lid. Okay, then the tree trunk goes just past the bottle here, sweeps down around past the lid, across, get my lemon. Okay, and then I'll create my horizon line to ground everything. And then I can start to add more details if this were my final piece, but this isn't my final piece, so this was just for practice to understand sizing, location, and proportion. Okay, and these lines go that way, these go up and down, these go that way, following the rest of the roof. I'm going to outline it so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so gesture drawing is just a quick understanding, making sure things are in the right place, you understand the size, proportions, location, all that good stuff. Okay, and then if you want to get a little bit more specific, you can start to understand where the shadows are going to belong. And keep going from there. Okay, so here's my gesture drawing. Okay, so then after that, we would move on to our charcoal paper. So this is just a practice. If you want to do a few thumbnails and move things around, you could always kind of create thumbnails. And then these would be quicker kind of gesture drawings. Maybe you set something up and you're like, I don't know if I like it, but I'll try to draw it. So then you could just do like your house here. Okay, bottle. Okay, lemon. Maybe you're like, ooh, I don't like that. Maybe I want to put the house over here. Try this out. Maybe I want to put the tree stump on the back side here. Maybe I put my lemon right here. My bottle behind my lemon. So you can do kind of some practice drawings just to figure out which one you like. These would be studies. Here's my horizon line, horizon line. Maybe I want to put the tree more front face, or the tree house more front facing. Okay, tree stump here. Maybe I liked the lemon on top of my tree stump. And then my bottle, maybe on its side this time. I don't know. Okay, so set up your still life however you think works best. I just threw those together real quick. They're not atomically correct, if you will, because I'm not really looking at what I'm doing. Just kind of throwing objects wherever I think looks good. Okay, so then once I've done my practice, then I can move on. I would suggest moving to a darker pencil like your 2B, because this is gray paper, and if we use our HB, it might be too light. But we don't want to press harder, because all said and done, we should see absolutely no pencil marks. It should be all done with charcoal. Now I can use this as like context of where things belong. Maybe I need to shift everything over a little bit this way because I don't like how close this is to the edge and how much space I have here. So I might shift things over this way a little bit. I might shift them down a little bit, and reposition that in a way that will be the center of my paper. So then I can come in, do my quick study, pressing lightly of my tree. I'm just going to zip through this real quick, give you guys more time to work. But once again, I'm still doing a gesture drawing because we should always start pressing lightly with all of our drawings. My lemon. Okay, then once I find out where everything belongs, then I can start to refine my edges, erase the extra lines that I don't need anymore. Okay, so now I have the quick study. Okay, then I can come in and start to be like, all right, I went a little too high right there. Now I can come and clean that up and be more precise with my lines. So I started with my gesture drawing. Now I'm refining everything that I'm seeing. Coming up. going to draw my lemon here. Okay, I've got all these extra lines here that I don't need anymore. Come in, and this is way too big of a bump. I'm just going to shift it over a little bit for the way the top of the lemon is located. Come down, shoot out just a little bit more. I can erase. Once again, I press lightly for that gesture drawing, and now I can erase everything that I don't need anymore. I can start to kind of visualize where the bark is for my tree. Got the rings for the inside of the tree where it was chopped up. And I can come in and draw my house. Get my angles more effective. I originally had a line here. I'm already all the way down here because I need to draw a little bit bigger. Get my 2-point perspective going. The roof overlaps the side of the house right here, and that shoots to the vanishing point as well on that side. Got this going on to the vanishing point there. Okay, so you can see my quick gesture drawing was not in the right spot. Like here's the original lines that I had, and then once I started to refine what was going on, then I could understand exactly how I was going to do that. And then once again with the gesture drawing, I press lightly, so now all these are very erasable. Okay, start to understand a little bit more of the circle here. We see the inside portion of the circle to help show that three-dimensionality. Come down, swoop around. The grain of the wood goes up and down vertically here. The grain of the wood goes side to side on the roof here, following the vanishing point. These follow the vanishing point as well. I can start to get more specific with the edge of my house right here, so it's not a perfectly straight line. I'm visualizing all the tree details going on there. Come in, once again I press lightly on my refinement drawing as well, so I can erase anything that I don't need anymore. And then that will also help me understand where the lines go for the side of my tree house. Okay, we want a horizon line so you can find a straight edge. Your horizon line must be above the bottom of all your objects. You can't throw your horizon line right here because that would then imply that your objects are floating. So your horizon line can go through the objects, but you just need to make sure that it's never below the base of the furthest back object. You could put the horizon line up here if you wanted to. You can put it here. I'm gonna go right here. Okay, now this is fine. It goes through my furthest back object, but the base of my object that's physically touching the ground isn't, it stops right about here. Okay, so if you want to get also creative, you could do like the corner of a table like I have here. So I could have mimicked that exact horizon line there. I'm getting coupons. All right, go this way, and then I can show the corner of the desk there. Then once that's complete with your drawing, once again, all said and done, you see no pencil lines, then you can start to come in and understand where your dark is, your light is light, get all those textures and details going on there. And then finally, we can edit our photos if we are struggling how color is in terms of value. I can click this little 3-circle guy here on the iPhone, scroll all the way to the end, and then that will create my picture in the black and white. So now I can see my darkest darks, my lightest lights, all the details, textures going on. See the highlight. My light sources come from above, therefore I have highlight on the top of my lemon, then it gets shadow darker on the bottom of my lemon. All the nice little details, the reflective details. If you have something metallic or made of glass, you'll see all these little reflective bits. you would create within your drawing and continue on with that. I've got another example started. It's a little bit bigger, the same thing, but it's not complete yet. So you can start to see how I'm adding those highlights, shadows, using my black charcoal for the deepest blacks, pressing harder, pressing lighter where I need to develop grays versus darker blacks. And then finally, all said and done, your image will look something like this. Once again, this is bigger paper, but this is what the gist of what your project should end up looking like. Okay, so step one, draw it on white paper just to understand where you need things to go. Step two, redraw it on your gray paper. Step three, start to add your charcoal marks with your black and white charcoal, understanding your darkest darks, lightest lights, a full range of value to develop form, which is three-dimensionality. And then your final product will be fully rendered. I don't see any more pencil lines. I have a full range of highlights, full range of darks. I put my shadows under my objects, understanding where those are to make them grounded on the floor. I have my horizon line and a finished product that would be A-worthy. Okay, so that's the full rundown. This video is recorded and I'll post it to the curriculum website if you ever need to go back and rewatch to understand gesture drawings. The other video I have of me doing the sphere has examples of how to develop the darks and lights and understand where your light source is coming from. So you have a couple videos that you can watch to understand exactly how everything is going to go to create a well thought out, fully produced black and white charcoal drawing on gray paper, really focusing on values, which is one of your elements of art.